people were asking me, am I going to start doing some more networking events? I used to run them a few years ago, but I sort of put that on hold and cracked on with things. And I thought, well, yeah, we should. You know, we need to bring people together. But I put myself out there as the icebreaker. I say hello to strangers so you don't have to. What I find is a lot of people don't like talking about themselves, about their business and about stuff. You know, a lot of the guys here today will obviously like talking about themselves. But where I want to get with this is attracting people in who don't feel comfortable with that process. And by starting simple and just telling stories about things, talking about things that people are passionate about, that gets them engaging with others, and then they start applying that thinking and go, yeah, this isn't too complicated after all. And then ultimately they can pick up that blooming phone and start smiling and dialing and talking to people out.
So they couldn't get meetings with
So I've met you here today, but we've actually met when you've been mayor. Tell me about that, and you're giving a presentation today, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I mean, I was mayor of the Robert and Windsor Maidenhead, and it was a good year because it was also the Jubilee year with the Queen. So we had quite a lot of events within Windsor and Windsor Castle as well. And we helped a lot of charities as well. We were involved in over 900 events over the year.
And you've also got your own business, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I'm working for a credit card company as a consultant. And basically they're hoping to beat any price or try to match any price of other credit card machine providers.
And of course networking is extremely important, isn't it, when you're starting up a business?
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, you need to meet people, you need to go out there, you need to tell them about yourself and about your products, and you need to hear what other people are saying as well. Some of that product might be of use to you.
Well, thank you very much for coming today, and you're going to give a presentation, a 5-minute slot.
I am, yeah. I think John's put me in the deep end, and I'm going in first. Thank you.
Grace Silence, His Lordship the Mayor. Well, he was. He's the ex-mayor. I'm just going to get this. Queen Jubilee. Okay, taking a stroll around Windsor. And Asgo is there in all his royal, in his regal red gown. So she walks along, and it's amazing when I watched her doing that, strolling around the streets. She was heading for the flowers. So if you're going to a royal visit, take some flowers. Because she does, she's like a bee, isn't she? She does buzz along to the flowers. Anyway, Asgard's got a lovely story about what happened when they entered the Guildhall.
Thank you.
So let me get into the video.
So it's been good to meet you today. Tell our viewers who you are.
Thanks, Carla. My name's Mike Bailey, and I'm a business advisor, a freelance creative writer, and also an advocate for the use of social media in business. One of the things I've shared with the people who've been here today was my conversion, if you like, at a somewhat advanced age to the power of social media as a business tool. I think more businesses need to get involved in using it to reach an audience that goes well beyond what they will achieve by conventional means.
But you also see the power of networking as well, personal face-to-face networking, so they work together well, do they?
Yeah, it's hard to beat face-to-face. Clearly, if you've met someone, you've shaken their hand and looked them in the eye, then you have a pretty clear idea of whether there's someone you can work with. That said, for a large company, it's not always possible to meet every single person who you'd like to sell to face-to-face. And that's where social media comes in. Businesses need to stop looking at it as a threat. They need to find positive ways to connect with an audience that goes well beyond their traditional audience, to reach their customers, to reach their consumers if they happen to be in a consumer market, and to send a message over which they have some influence, rather than just rely on the public perception.
And have you enjoyed your session, Slow Networking, today?
It's been very interesting. I've tried networking in many guises before. I've tried the express half-a-minute networking, which tends to leave me somewhat cold and on the end of an unfinished conversation. Today it was good to chat in a more relaxed atmosphere, and full credit to John for getting it off the ground.
Thank you. Also, we're at a slow networking event today, and you're here, talking to people about a new venture you got. Tell me about that.
Well, Carla, I've started a new business called Presenting Success, and it's about helping people to present themselves more effectively in a group, on their feet in front of an audience, or wherever, in fact in sales situations or management situations. Because you know what happens, that people get very good at their jobs, and whether it's technical or whatever it might be, or administrative, or even in management, and then they're asked to do a presentation. And that's when the fear strikes, because if they're not used to it, if you're not used to standing up and saying something to people and receiving feedback or not receiving feedback, then it can be quite difficult, it can be challenging and very fearful. And we've seen people, I mean, I'm sure you have over the years, people's careers either being made by the ability to speak or actually being defeated. In fact, it happened to me 35 years ago when I was a young training officer with Quaker Oats. I gave a presentation to the board of directors, and I had 20 minutes to give this presentation, and 3 minutes into it I had nothing more to say. I just went, my mouth went dry and lips started to crack, and eventually my boss, who was in the meeting, said, "Thank you, next speaker please." And I know the invisible line went through my name at that point. They decided I wasn't going to progress, and I didn't. And 2 or 3 years later, I left the company. But what happened in the meantime was that I decided to put myself onto a public speaking course. It happened to be a course called Dale Carnegie course, which some of you may remember back in the 70s, 80s, and which was fabulous, which really showed me the way forward. And 2 years later, I found myself as an instructor of that course, which was extraordinary experience for me, because I got no intention of doing anything like that. And a year later I was actually selling the course full-time, commission only, in London. And I'd never sold anything before in my life, but I was so enthusiastic and so excited about what I was doing that I just had to tell people about it. And 35 years later I'm running my own business. I'm showing people how to do this, how to both sell themselves and to speak in public. And it's possible to do that.
Well, thank you very much for giving us an insight into it, and I look forward to meeting you again.
Thank you.
Right, so I met you today, and you are an IT consultant, aren't you?
Yeah, work in a small business looking after businesses from 1 to 50 computers.
And what's the importance of networking to you?
It's a vital way of finding customers, actually. You get to meet people without having to sell to them. You have a chat about things that make nothing about computers. Get to know them before you actually start to become a customer.
And you've got quite a big background, haven't you, in IT? But you've enjoyed running your own business.
Yes, it's great. I do enjoy it. You get to meet other people doing interesting businesses, and working with other businesses. It's just great because other people's passions all float off, and it just makes it a lovely experience.
And you work with somebody else, don't you?
Yeah, there are two of us, so we can provide cover on holiday, and also quite often you've got to back your problems off somebody else in order to solve the problems. So yeah, there's two of us working together on this, and we'll grow a team to 5.
Well, I hope you enjoy the slow networking. What do you think about slow networking compared to fast networking?
Oh, it's great. You can actually get to know what people are about and have a nice chat, so it makes it very interesting. It's a great event.
Well, I met you today, and you're a startup, but you have a great deal of consultancy experience as well, and you've changed track. Tell us about that.
So I've been a management consultant. I was an accountant originally, but I've just spent a year at fashion school in Texas, and I'm in the process of starting up my own company, which will make women's business wear that is sized to fit her bust and her hip to waist ratio, and is an affordable alternative to bespoke tailoring, but it fits better than what you can buy on the high street.
And as a startup, you're going to take your own advice, are you?
Yes. So I've written a business plan. I have a financial business plan with a balance sheet that balances. I was quite proud of that. But I'm constantly very worried that there are things that I've missed out on. So as a consultant, I could see things from the outside, and I could see where someone had missed something, whereas at the moment, because I'm on the inside, I'm very worried that I've missed something that only someone who's outside, who's not as passionate about my idea, can really see, and I can't see that. So I think I do need help from outside. Just by myself, I'm worried that I'd miss something, and then that would then trip me up later on.
And I'm very interested that you chose to train in Texas. Why not in the UK?
So there are plenty of very good schools in the UK. There are a number of reasons why I went to Texas. Part of it was financial. I have a master's degree already, so therefore if I was to go to any university in the UK, I'd have to pay full fees because all the government support is only for people who are advancing their qualification rather than equaling their qualification. I have a house just outside London, and if I was studying in London, I'd spend all my money on either travelling into London or living in London. Whereas by being outside the country, I could let my house and earn a little bit of money on the side, and that's why I decided to go outside the UK. I'll be honest, in Texas there was also a love interest in Texas, which is no longer. But that made Texas that much more interesting than going to New York, for example. And Houston is a far cheaper city to live in than New York or LA would be.
Well, I wish you all the luck with your new venture, and I hope you enjoy the slow networking today.
Thank you very much. It's great to meet you in an event like this.
Thank you. Dermot, we just met today, and you are a will writer by profession. Why is networking important?
Well, networking is very important for me because really it's all about the personal touch when I deal with my clients. So it's important I go out and meet people and they can make their own opinion up about myself and whether or not I'm the sort of person that they'd like to take advice from when it comes to drawing up a will. So the face-to-face approach of networking allows me to do that. I do a fair bit on social media as well, where at least you get a bit of copy and a photograph of my ugly face so you can see what I look like beforehand, and we can swap, have a conversation online. But I find that networking events is by far the best situation for getting to know people and garnering new clients, basically.
But you come from Bracknell, don't you? But you cover a wide area, don't you?
Yeah, I would cover pretty much most of the southeast of England, but I like to, if possible, keep people in a close enough travelling distance. So I would go to the west of London, I would go out to Swindon, almost down to the coast, and sometimes as far as Luton. So that diamond pretty much represents the area that I cover.
Now, people automatically think of wills as being something older people do, but actually young people should do it.
Exactly, yeah, but that's very true indeed. I mean, everyone should really have a will, but there are different driving factors, different reasons, depending at what stage of your life you're at. If you're in your 20s and 30s and have children, then it's all about the guardians and choosing people to look after your underage infant children. But when you get towards the end of your life, in your late 70s, 80s, 90s, it's more about protecting the assets, and maybe protecting the assets down through to your children and grandchildren and thereon, which is something that the younger clients don't really consider at all. So yeah, there's different reasons for a very wide age group to look at drawing up a will.
Well, thank you for introducing me to a very interesting subject.
Thank you.
I've just met you today, and you're going to be giving a presentation on business continuity planning. What's that?
It's really getting businesses to understand what they need to do to stay in business. Initially, when there's a disaster occurs, there's panic tends to take over, a lot of disruption. But to know what you need to do in a structured way and be able to address that and recover your business in a couple of days to a level where your customers are satisfied can save you an awful lot of pain in the long run and potentially keep you in business on the longer term.
And you deal with businesses of all sizes, don't you? Small ones and big ones.
That's right.
Having worked with IBM.
Yes, indeed. My smallest customer has got just 20 people. My largest customer has over 8,000 and works in many countries.
So you're very familiar with all kinds of disasters, and we've had our fair share of flooding in this area.
Yes.
Should people have planned for that? I mean, it's been unusual flooding.
You don't necessarily plan for the specific incident. What you say is, my premises are damaged in some way, or my people can't get to work. Those sort of incidents can be caused by a number of things. So it could be strikes, could be fires, could be that your neighbours had a disaster. It doesn't necessarily have to be your own. But inclement weather to the extreme is quite topical at the moment, and it's one of the things you can't do anything about other than to react. but you need to react quickly and efficiently.
Well, I look forward to your presentation shortly. Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Right, so you've been busy slow networking. How's that working out for you?
It's fantastic today, thank you, Carla. Really, really good. There's a lot of people in this room, so I don't think we're going to get through them all today. But to have a good 5 minutes with people I've not met before and understand about their business, and for me to explain about mine, has been really, really effective.
So it's working out well then?
Really well today, yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely come back, and other people have said really positive things.
So you're a start-up, aren't you, in Berkshire?
I am.
Tell
yes.
us about that.
I've started my new business, Fresh Eyes Consultants, and I am a CSR specialist. Anything from bespoke CSR programming and embedding into your business through to CSR audits for you.
And so you have quite a lot of experience in this, haven't you? So
Yes.
although you're a startup, you're not new to it, are you?
I'm not new to it, no. I've had a few years doing very specifically employee and community engagement and looking about how businesses can get more involved and how to work out the impact. And I've been through various training with BIT, Business in the Community, and through the Responsible Business Organisation to get my accreditations.
And it's important to get to know business parks, isn't it?
It really is, yes. Foundation Business Park is people we've been talking to. They have a great venue here, which is amazing, so we can invite people in and hopefully give them some education and some learning to get individual ideas about running a business.
Right, so that's something that you're cooking at the moment, is
Yes, we're cooking it up, so I'm not going to say too much, but yes, we are cooking it up at the moment.
Thank you.
As you can see, we do have some stunning office space available. So if any of you or your clients are looking for space, please bear us in mind. A couple of people mentioned they weren't aware of the business park and that we're quite a well-kept secret. We try not to be, which is why we do host events like this from time to time.
Right, John, this is the first of slow networking. Tell us about that and how you feel it's gone today.
I think it's gone extremely well, extremely well. I mean, it came out of the fact that I've been and run different events in the past, and the 1 minute piece when people come together and want to talk to each other just doesn't cut it. You don't get enough information across. So giving people more time, I mean, on paper we said 5 minutes, but some of these sessions have drifted to 10, I think, and others have been a bit shorter, but that doesn't matter. The random nature of it means that people can enjoy that conversation, connect up, and then hopefully, continue talking offline.
And you're hoping to have some more events here?
Yeah, well, that's what we'd figured. So I'd like to run this again, next month. We just need to obviously go through the landlords and make sure that they're happy with what's been going on. So we'll be running this, and this model works. So it's proven today it's worked. Everybody seems to be buzzing. I'm getting lots of positive feedback. So it won't be just here. I'll run it in different locations, but with the same idea, bringing people together who might not normally sort of talk to strangers, but this allows them to start communicating so they can also really get on that phone and start talking to people, because I think there's too many people not making those phone calls.
What's particularly interesting about this networking event, and I go to a lot of them, is that there are new faces to me, which is interesting because I know an awful lot of people in Berkshire, and yet you've managed to get a whole range of people here.
A whole lot of new people. Well, I think that's what happens with standing other events. It attracts the same people, which is good on one level because you create stronger connections with those people. But at the same time, you need some fresh blood around the place, and so bringing a new event along attracts that. And because I've got a broad contact base, I mean the group on LinkedIn. Business in Berkshire LinkedIn group is growing by say 10 people a week, and so there's more new faces all the time, and they're looking for opportunities. So if they're hearing about it, they'll turn up.
And what is the benefit for a business park like this?
Say again.
What is the benefit for a business park like this?
For the park, it's the exposure. It's getting more people to know that they exist, because you never know who people are talking to. One chap was left earlier, Charlie, who did a great video on it, and he's gone off up to London for a board meeting with one of his clients. So you just don't know who knows who and where they're going next. And so it could be that somebody's talking to somebody over a dinner party at the weekend that says, blah, 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 we're looking for new space. Oh, do you need 10,000 square metres or whatever the size of these places are? You know, in Maidenhead, yes, job done.
Well, thank you for organising this, a lot of hard work, and look forward to the next one.
Excellent, thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Thank you.